work, because one of the reasons most people take very crowded trains is that they have to be somewhere at some time, and the previous modes of transport may not have a good connection. And you're not going to change that by telling people that the earlier train is less crowded or the later one. There have been 3 flat-out refusals, and Brno has started 1 lawsuit in order to get documents out of it. We have no idea how long that will take and what the end result will be. And he is going to file at least 3 new requests the coming weeks. Which is interesting itself, because the Minister of Transport, not really the Secretary of Transport, started out after the MyFair disaster by telling that it was not an issue at all. After that, it was still not a problem, but a minor technical problem, and now they're in the modus that they will be waiting until there will be real abuse of the system, until they're going to fix the security in there. But there's good reason to assume that she may have to resign somewhere in the coming years over this project, because it's already about more than €1 billion over budget. And they still haven't gotten it working yet. So. That's the part about the OV chip card. Another part is about data retention and the Dutch implementation of that. In front on the slide there's a small part of the retention directive. Well, most people here know about it. There has been a demonstration against it last year. Yeah. The part highlighted is the date and time of the log-on of the internet email service, of internet telephony service, based on a certain time zone. That in itself is bad enough, given the fact that it's your private data. It's also probably fairly useless because of all the spam out there. But it's also a big problem in terms of informants to journalists, and that's why Brno really wants to have put this in the presentation. And I don't know about other European countries, but in the Netherlands, a journalist has a very limited right to be silent about whistleblowers anyway, but as far as he has one, if he doesn't know who it really is, he really can't tell. And until now, email was a fairly safe method, because most ISPs get rid of their logging of email fairly soon anyway. There have been some extreme examples already of Dutch journalists having to disclose their sources. There's still a lingering scandal about an ex-Marine who turned out to be a weapon supplier to organized drug syndicates. Some leaks about that were former employees of the Dutch intelligence service. And the journalists who received that information have been jailed for not disclosing that information, and all the phone calls got tapped. And it's to be expected that this is going to happen in the future even more often, and also for email, now that there will be data retention, of course. And that's why Brno came up with a scheme called Small Sister in order to ascertain anonymity on the internet, and that's the part where Peter takes over from me in order to explain the technical side of it.
Okay, let's. What is Small Sister? Well, it's a project, and there's actually 2 sides of the project. There is a big issue about raising awareness of privacy and security, because as some other talks showed you cannot have privacy on your own computer if it is secure, if insecure enough to install keyloggers and things like that. So we talk about disk encryption, network privacy, and Brenno is trying to raise a lot of media buzz. And well, the awareness is for the general public, but if politicians pick it up, well, that would be good because they can change some things and maybe change some very stupid laws about data retention or other privacy measures. The second part is to build tools to fill privacy gaps. We have Tor and good proxies to make, so there's no use to make another Tor wannabe replacement because, well, Tor is there and Tor is doing a good job, or better job than I can do, in proxying information over the internet. There's, well, I guess you'll know a longer list than I can present here, but there are a lot of tools that are there. But one of the things that has been missing is what I call data retention resistant email tool. And that's where I started well, planning, programming, and what happened, what we came up with. It's essentially an email-like client-server architecture that uses SSL or TLS over Tor. I mean, we like the work the guys at Tor do, but we don't want to need to trust them in keeping our information private. I mean, if you can encrypt the connection, all the better, because snooping is made harder even for Tor nodes, because it's, well, we talk about end-to-end encryption and not Tor node to Tor node encryption. The last part, the part between Tor node and the application, is encrypted too. Servers, well, can be made anonymously. They are intended to live in the .onion domain, so that it can only be accessed by Tor and live as what Tor calls hidden service, which protects the provider of the mail server. Well, if you have an email address, you don't know whether the server is in Europe, America, Africa, Antarctica. Well, maybe Antarctica could be found with timing attack, but you know, it's hard to find where the server really lives, and it makes it hard for the authorities to find the server and try to collect or tap. One other thing is, if you can make anonymous accounts, or the server maker allows anonymous accounts, it means that he doesn't have to know his users personally. Well, a big threat to privacy are people that know you personally. I mean, Big Brother's liking to snoop on Small Sister, but hey, if you have some strangers, you even don't know their names on your server, what's your incentive to snoop on them when they use the server normally? And one of the most important things is, well, we didn't want to reinvent all wheels. We just wanted, when there are very good components on the market, things like PGP or GPG, Tor, well, OpenSSL, just link those things together. You can use the application and not, so it's use the tools efficiently, use good tools, use tools that have been reviewed and are known to be, well, best in the market, open source tools. Yeah, let's take a look at whether we can make a view of how the application looks like. Okay, yeah. Here we have the application. It's a simple client application that talks to servers, and take a look whether we've got that. Hey, we've got messages. Let's look what is. Hey, this is a message from Breno, the original speaker. He sent from home and to the hidden server. And yeah, well, it seems. Let's send an email back and see what happens. Well, did you notice that the message was encrypted? And that it was decrypted on the fly while I was reading it? Small feature. Let's take a quick look at what. So. Okay, let's encrypt it and send it off. Well, did you notice it has been encrypted yet? And well, it will be sending the email out. So let's go on with the talk. And where is the? Okay, where is it? So, well, what would I do to make it more privacy enhanced? Well, I just dropped the concept of reusing SMTP. It has too much craft that came from the UUCP and BitNet times, and it was never designed to protect privacy. So well, we had headers that leak information like, well, mad. It's so it's. What we do is we encrypt message and header as one single blob and just hand it over to a server. Well, the server's on the internet, so there's no need to have something routing a special server, gatewaying it, so you can just dump it directly to the server with a message. Please put it in the mailbox for that user, or well, that key. It's not a user, it's just a random key that indicates a mailbox. And well, thanks to Tor, the server will not know where the message came from, whether it came from Europe or America. And I mean, it goes over Tor, so there is anonymity in the transport protocol. And we only identify the recipient by its mailbox number, ID, random ID. And I have some recommendations for people that think of putting anonymity in. Use more mailboxes to prevent correlation attacks. If you are in a football club and member of the CCC, why don't have you 3 mailboxes, one for the football club, one for CCC, and one for the family, so that your family doesn't need to know that you're a CCC member. And do that on different servers. It makes correlation attacks more difficult, because when you check for new messages on the server with 3 mailboxes in a row, it's one can assume that you are the same person doing it, or the same client doing it. So it's better to have several mailboxes on different servers, so that it requires